Genesis 45. Is Joseph finally gonna tell his brothers who he is? At the moment, he's threatening to keep his youngest brother Benjamin as a slave while the other brothers go home. But they know damn well they cannot return without Benjamin. Judah just spent half the last chapter pleading with Joseph to take him instead. What will Joseph do? Then, Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence!" So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. I can't believe we had chapters worth of buildup, and then Joseph just says it. He can't hold it in. Forget the drama that was building up. Forget holding his little brother as a slave. Sentences into the chapter, he's like, "You guys, it's me." This is such terrible writing. It's like if halfway through a murder mystery, the killer just pops up and says, "I did it." Roll credits. Also, do you know how hard you have to cry that people next door hear you? Either you're in mortal danger or you're kind of faking it. This is the third time Joseph is openly crying, and it just gets bigger every time. I wish the Bible came with pictures, though. It would be fun to see the dropped jaws of every brother. What is up with Joseph's question? Is my father still living? He is living. You know how I know that? Because Judah just told Joseph that like 2 sentences ago. It's at the very end of Genesis 44. Judah says, "I need the boy to come with me or else father would be miserable." And now Joseph responds with, "Is he alive? Were you not listening? I know a lot of Christians don't read the Bible, but why aren't the people in the Bible reading the Bible?" Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance." The brothers are still like, I get that Joseph is very forgiving here, but remember that he's also put those brothers through hell and back. He's made them take these long journeys home, putting some of them in prison, but he knew who they were the whole time. He's had time to process this. They have not. They should be furious. And if Joseph is saying God is the one who sent me here, why was he messing with his brothers the whole time? He should have put God in prison for something. That dude deserves it. Do you know how many genocides he's done so far? And if God's on his side, why isn't Joseph Pharaoh? I want one of those brothers to ask, how do you know there are exactly 5 more years of famine? And is that gift of prophecy genetic? So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, "This is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me, you, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute." The brothers are still like, you have to admit though, this is pretty generous. Joseph is telling them he'll look after their dad in his old age. You don't always get volunteers for that one. And he'll take care of all the brothers. Not bad. If someone tried to drown me then sold me into slavery, I'm not sure I would share my lottery winnings with them. How many people is Joseph inviting to Egypt? This is already a big family, and we're not even talking about grandkids or wives or slaves. And if Joseph is filthy rich and he's trying to help out the family, why not send other Egyptians to collect their stuff and bring it there? I mean, why is he making them take another long journey? That seems like a thing rich people avoid when possible. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it is really I who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt, and about everything you have seen, and bring my father down here quickly. Still, nothing from the brothers, but at least Joseph is rubbing it in. Go home and tell Daddy that I'm the real success in this family. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterwards, his brothers talked with him. It took 15 verses for them to say something. I hope at least one of the brothers is like, "You son of a bitch." When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and return to the land of Canaan, and bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land." The fat of the land technically means the cream of the crop, the best part, and it's the name of an album by Prodigy. So you can't say the Bible doesn't have useful information. Does anyone really care what Pharaoh says at this point? I mean, he's technically in charge, but I think we've established that Joseph is the real leader here. And he's already made all these promises. So Pharaoh coming in and saying all the same stuff just seems pointless. It's almost like Joseph did all the research for the group project, but now here's Pharaoh coming in and giving the whole presentation as if this was his idea all along. You are also directed to tell them, do this. Take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours. You know, if this was a prank, this would be hilarious. Bring everyone from Canaan to here. Don't bring your stuff. You're moving in and we'll cover all your needs. What if they arrived only to hear Joseph say, "Ha! Just kidding. You sold me into slavery. You think I'd seriously let that go? Good luck getting your old apartment back now." You know, Pharaoh and Joseph are rich. Joseph's extended family is about to move into wealth. Meanwhile, there's a famine and all the other Egyptians must be struggling. Even in biblical times, capitalism was broken. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts, as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. To each of them, he gave new clothing. But to Benjamin, he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And this is what he sent to his father: 10 donkeys loaded with the best things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain and bread and other provisions for his journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't quarrel on the way. Don't fight, even though I just gave the youngest brother a ton of cash and extra clothes for being genetically closer to me. And even though I gave Daddy 20 donkeys full of everything amazing. Just deal with it. Should be easy. You spent half the chapter going like this. Just keep that up during your entire journey. By the way, if one of you stole another goblet from me, I will cut you." Why is he sending 10 donkeys full of the best things of Egypt? They're all moving to Egypt. Joseph is giving them heavy luggage that they'll need to carry on both legs of the journey. What's the point? Just leave it there. Don't drag it back and forth. So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They told him, "Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of all Egypt." Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, "I'm convinced. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Jezreel's switching names back and forth very quickly now. He was skeptical at first, but when he saw all the gifts, he decided to go along with it. I mean, maybe he's still skeptical, but at this point, why argue? Take the money. The passage quotes him as saying, "I'm convinced," but Maybe he was crossing his fingers when he said it. What if he said no? What if he said, I'm old, I'm at least 120 years old, I'm tired, I don't feel like moving to a new place and uprooting my whole life just to see Joseph again? What would happen? What if the Bible just ended right now? This entire chapter basically wrapped up a storyline we saw coming a long time ago. Joseph is reunited with his brothers, and the whole family will be back together soon. But there are still a few chapters left in Genesis, so there's still gotta be more twists to come, and a couple more deaths, and maybe a few more totally boring lists of names. We are so close though.